And we are live. Hi, Chris.
Hi
Hi,
there.
Maggie. How are
Hello.
you? So I'm trying to see if the sound is good.
So we better talk, haven't we?
We have, yes.
Awesome. It has been a long time we didn't do our video, our YouTube video about our latest books. Because it's summertime and we are taking some time to rest, some of you, because some of us don't rest. So how are you doing? How are you doing?
Great, actually. Yeah, very good.
Summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a small vacation, but we're ready to start again now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And the energies are crazy. So
yeah,
it cannot
absolutely.
not work. So summertime is also time that we take to read, whether in the beach or just like transportation, long distance roads. I've been traveling a bit, so it was really nice to have audiobooks and books also to have at the beach and so on. So how is your reading practice in summer? Does it change related to winter, or what did you notice?
Well, for me, for the first time in, it must be months now, I actually read a novel, and it's by Louise Penny, and it's set in Quebec and Montreal. And she was talking about places I knew, and it was wonderful because she was describing food and eating it, and I think I can eat it. I could feel I could actually eat it. So that was rather nice. I read about 2 or 3 days. I was just reading it, and just to have a break. And then, okay, I'm ready to go back to books now, so I can tackle these different books and see how I feel about those. And so I went from fiction to non-fiction, but I started off with a book about water. I thought, now that's really appropriate for the summer. And this is the book I have.
Lift it up. Yeah.
Your Body's Many Cries for Water.
Taking picture. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, by Badmang Helij. I'm sorry about that. That's terrible pronunciation, but so I started reading that, and I thought, this format sounds so familiar. And I went and had a look, and I got this book, The Plant Paradox, by Dr. Gundry. And I thought, hang on, and I got this book by The Wheat Belly.
Can you put it a little bit higher? Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
William Davies. And that format was the same. They're all saying you need to either eliminate this and put this in, and they've got the science to back it up, and they have benefited from it. And I thought, they're saying it's for everybody, but it's not for everybody. It worked really, really well for them, and it helped them, and it will help many, many people. And if I follow both of those, I wouldn't be eating anything. It's just they eliminated so many foods between them. I thought, no, this is a little bit silly. And then going back to my original book, this one, what I found was he's a very interesting character. He's an Iranian, and I don't know why, but he ended up in prison. And they found out he was a doctor, and they were asking for help. He said, I had no medicine, nothing in there. He said, the only thing I could get hands on was water. He said, I started using that, and water and salt. And he said, people started to heal. And, colitis healed up, all sorts of things healed up. So when he was released, he did a lot of research into this. And what he was finding is the medical system were not interested. There was no money to be made in it. So therefore, what's the point of following this? But the more he looked at it, the more he was able to help people. And he said, what we forget is we drink water, but we don't put salt in it. And we have to have the combination of the water and the salt. Otherwise, the water cannot get into the cells. And if the water can't get into the cells, you get dehydrated. And he said, then you get illnesses. And so that was the basics. He said, then you'll find that Some people are not absorbing vitamins and minerals because of the lack of water. And if you add those to the water, it will help. That will also help to alleviate whatever illness you have. And his whole book is going through the different illnesses you could possibly have, even blood pressure and cholesterol, and he does diabetes, he does, just you name it, he does it. And he got wonderful results, but he was shut down. But a lot of what he was saying makes sense. It doesn't cost anything. But if you incorporate the water with the salt, and he tells you how much to take, it does alleviate a lot of diseases, because if you're hydrated, your cells can function as they should do and send all the correct signals to the rest of the body. So I found that fascinating.
Yeah, it's all about helping the body to help itself.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
It's really interesting. And we talked, I don't know when, but we talked about the fourth phase of water, and how scientists now are studying the fourth state of water, which can be the collagen and so on, as another form of water. So it's not the gaseous and liquid form and so on. There is the fourth state. And if their theory and their vision is right, we might consider that we are 99% of water.
Yes.
Which is crazy. And that, all these things about how to use water and how to re-energize it and how to flow it. And there is the book of The Myth of Contagion. I don't know if I shared it with you before. He speaks a lot about water and the importance of streams and importance of not digging to look for water, but let it arrive, because when you dig for water, it's not yet ready. You have to let water go up, and that's when it's ready to be drunk or used. And it has passed through many nature sounds and through many places. So it gathered all the minerals and things that make this water healing. That's why many streams, when I was in England, many places are known for their healing properties, where there are streams of water.
Yes.
For that. So it's amazing. It's amazing to share this book.
And there was, I can't remember, there was a Japanese man who wrote a book about water. And he was saying how if you get a container of water, preferably a blue one, and you put words on there, and so the water becomes infused with them.
Yes, it's Emoto.
Yes, Emoto. Yes, that's right. And then Greg Braden did a section on water as well. And he showed how by talking to water, the crystals would change. And the nicer things you said, the better the crystals were, and the negative things, it really sort of destroyed the water, which was quite interesting. The other component in this book, though, is salt. And he's saying not just your regular table salt from the supermarket. He said that's not really worth taking. But he said the Himalayan salt is good. And some of the like Celtic salt and things like that. But you have to be careful, because now they're finding in the sea salt plastics. So even the good quality sea salts often contain plastic, and that's not good for your system. Yeah.
You remind me about the book I have read some time ago about the microplastics and how they are found now in food.
Yes.
And because they are really small, and also on fish, that we know now, and they eat it and so on. So yeah, it's something interesting to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm so surprised that it's not the plastic is still used. Even for us, we produce cards and things like that. We try to really not use them, but the manufacturer companies are basically they have to use it. They didn't think, and they don't think about another perspective of another product can be used or something like that.
Awesome. So that was my book, but there are many different authors like Mark Hyman, Joel Furman, Macola, they all have different diets, and they all think that those are the best, and they are for them. You have to find what's best for you. So you have to study your own body and your responses. And that's all you can do. Yeah.
That's really interesting, Maggie, because you see, when I talk about the diet to people, they are waiting for the right solution as like a recipe, a magical pill. But it's really all about trying. You have to try because if you don't try, experiment, you won't find what is right for you.
That's right.
But it's like afraid of trying, but trying only a magical pill that has worked for many people. But
yes.
it doesn't work sometimes. You have to try. You have to remove things. You have to try things. And that needs also an awareness about our physical body, you know.
That's right.
This is one of the keys.
Yeah.
You have to be really aware of what's happening in your body and how it feels.
Yeah, because I remember I went to the doctor. I had a rash just under this eye. What on earth's causing that? And I did go to the doctor, and it was, we can give you a pill for that. That's all right. I thought, no, I'd like to actually stop what's happening. And eventually I traced it to cheese. When I eliminated cheese, gone. So then I went on to dairy, but I could have just gone on eating cheese. It probably would have got worse and worse and worse. But by paying attention to my diet, I was able to isolate it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I have rosacea and that I got from the Lyme disease when I had it. And when I eat something sugary, it also it increases. It's like it's right away. It's like the day after.
Yeah.
And I love sometimes sweet things. You know, who doesn't love like a good lemon cake or a good chocolate cake? Sometimes, you know, I just like, oh, that's really good. But yeah, it's now I'm trying to do more things with honey because honey does not do this type of rosacea, you know.
Yeah.
And
with honey, you need to get local honey.
Yeah.
Because that will have the same sort of pollen as all the other around you. So that's much better for you.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got so good honey. Last year I had my own. This year I don't think I would be able to have because we had a big attack of Asian wasps. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. What about your books, Chris? I know you've got.
I'll sit back and let you go.
Well, as usual, I've got a terrible memory. So I've actually written my notes down, and you might find this interesting because I believe it's a book that you've been reviewing as well. I decided to go back to my shamanic roots and look at The Bowl of Light by Hank Wasserman, or Wesselman. And I found this book really fascinating. It's still in progress. So what I've done is reviewed half of it. Then you've got the rest of the book to explore yourself. And it's fascinating to look at the way different cultures and different societies look at the same things you do, but in a slightly different way. And for people who don't know this book, basically Hank is a anthropologist, but he has been doing quite a lot of shamanic work, and he's written several shamanic books and shamanic journeys. And he went to Hawaii and met a local spiritual leader there called Hale Makua, M-A-K.
Makua. Yeah.
I'm terrible with pronunciations as well. And they developed a very strong friendship. And Hale basically took Hank through a number of ceremonies and initiations. And he explained a lot about the Hawaiian belief system. And it's really quite fascinating. They start the book quite dramatically. They'd arranged to meet, and when they got together, there was this huge thunderstorm, and they were getting together on the edge of a volcanic crater, and they did a ceremony to the volcanic god Pele, and they really felt the energy of this. You could feel the hairs on the back of your arms were raising, and that's right. And they were saying that basically you need to feel these spiritual things. It's not something you can just describe. It's a feeling in yourself. You feel it's real, you notice it. And this started them off on this journey. One of the interesting things is Hale was saying that Hawaiians don't write. We talk and share what's in our heart. And that adds a different dimension to teaching when it's done through teaching, not so much writing. Hale was actually very sensitive about what Hank Besselman wrote about what he was saying, and he wanted to approve anything before it actually went into print. I'm assuming I'm okay to be talking about it because it was approved beforehand for Hank to put in the book, but it makes you realize this is sort of sacred information, and you need to treat it as such, I think. So it is important. The Hawaiian culture is, they live very close to nature, and they don't see themselves as separate from nature. Everything is alive, possessing its own form of conscious awareness. And prayer is inherent in every life and words. So it's living from your heart in concert with nature. And unfortunately in the West, we've forgotten how to do that. And we need to get back to that. I quite like a quote he made. We actually come into this world as gods. We have just forgotten who we really are and what it really means. So we need to remember that.
It's really amazing that you are sharing about this book, because we are planning with some shamanic practitioners to go through the book and practice many journeys from the book. We will start by September, and many people who have studied with Hank or with us, they are impatient to start this journey because it is sacred information. And the more you go deeper with each information or each journey, it's like you discover more and more. And something really interesting that I feel from these books is that I'm being guided by Hank, or when I brought this idea out, is about working with their books and continue the teachings. It's really, we are guided by them. So even if they are now on the spirit realm, because they passed to the other side, they are still here.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I find these books fascinating because they're talking about a lot of things that we're familiar with, or I'm familiar from my shamanic background, but they put a little different twist on it. And it actually helps to broaden your understanding and awareness of this. I particularly liked, Hank received a gift from Hale, and it was a wooden bowl. And it's where the book gets its title from, The Bowl of Light. And I really loved the concept of having this bowl, and everybody has a bowl and it's part of them. And when they're given the bowl, it's filled with sacred light. But as we go through life, we collect negativity and hurt, and it effectively fills up this bowl with stones until there's no more room for light. So we have the wonderful illustration of having to take this bowl and empty out the heaviness and let it refill again with light. And this is, we tend to forget that, and we need to do that on a fairly regular basis. Now, in our books, we talk about removing negative energy and effectively doing that. But I love this visualization of a bowl and stones. I think it's easier to appreciate what you're doing when you're taking out these stones.
Really interesting. I don't know if you remember, but Isis have showed me that practice of the bowl, where she offers a bowl where you have to fill everything. I think I added it to our book Psychic Protection Kit, but it's really about letting these negativity go through our veins and through our meridians to fill that bowl that she offers, because there is these type of archetypes, like Mother Earth, have a great power of regeneration and of transmutation. Yes. That we have forgotten. We have this power, but we have forgot it. We forgot how to transmute our emotions, our thoughts, and also by the number of weight of things that we have on our shoulders. We kind of miss the strength to do it. So it's as if they are teaching us how to do it again, how to transmute, how to change, how to let go of these things from our own body. And yeah, I'm going to just bring in this because it came in the bowl of Isis, I was saying.
Yeah, it's fascinating, these comparisons. Another thing that Hale talks about is different sort of archetypes and how we live these different archetypes, and we will choose to be that particular archetype for a time. But there's always a positive way of doing it and a negative way of doing it. And you have to be very diligent about making sure that you're focusing on the positive side. One of the roles is the spiritual warrior. And what he says is basically the spiritual warrior follows a very narrow path, and it's constrained by 3 sacred directives. Love all you see with humility, live all that you feel with reverence, and know all that you possess with discipline. So you need to have a structure. You need to have a strength to continue and focus in a particular way. And this is what, to me, being a warrior is. They have the strength to continue and fight for what they think is right, or know is right. So I find that fascinating.
Chris, I just want to say I find it amazing that you are taking notes from the book. That's how you integrate the lesson and teachings.
I wish it was at my fingertips. It sort of is, but I find when I'm typing, I think this is why I'm drawn more to. Sorry, let's come from the screen. I'm drawn more to writing than I am to speaking, because I forget some of the finer points, whereas when I'm writing, I can read it and say, oh, I need to add that word, I need to discuss this, I need to expand in this direction. So I find it's a natural way for me to do it, but I'm actually lousy at reading, so it makes it very difficult to do this. So read my books. Oh dear. I know, there's so much here. Let's talk about the different
archetypes.
Yeah. What page?
We've got too many pages there. We'll be here all day.
It's nice to have a summary and summarizing, like you are summarizing the book. But of course, it's a magnificent book.
He's actually rewritten it.
Yeah. Okay, that's crazy.
Not
That's
quite.
crazy. That's what we call passionate reader.
Oh,
Do the archetypes.
yeah, that. So
Go for it.
go for it. I found it interesting. The Hawaiians are very strong on ancestors, and they believe the ancestors affect them quite a lot. And that was an area I wasn't quite so familiar with. And I found it fascinating how both Hank and Hale sort of compared ancestors and looked at, and they both provided a very important part in their life. And I think in the Western world here, we don't think enough about what the ancestors have given us and how we can benefit from that information. The other thing was in terms of ceremonies, it is a way of connecting with a higher aspect of yourself. And the Hawaiians basically do quite a lot with ceremonies and working with the nature spirits, like the nature of the volcano. And this provides a very important part of their life as well. So I found that fascinating because when I was in Peru, I went through a lot of ceremony and got in touch with a lot of nature spirits down there, the Yapus who inhabit the mountains. And it brings it all to life, makes it all come alive for you and brings up your energy. So I think these ceremonies are important.
Well, I think you integrate it far more when you're going through an experience.
Yeah.
They're explaining it all to you. You really integrate the whole thing as opposed to reading it, which can be great, but you sort of often skip over something and you don't embrace the whole, well, you don't have the experience.
Another area that Hale was talking about, when he was talking about these archetypes, one of the archetypes is the chief, the controller. And both Hale and Hank were saying that basically they don't like politicians. And to them, a politician should not be in the role of a leader. They felt that a leader had to have experienced the positive side of all the different architects, the teacher, the sage, the warrior, can't remember the other ones, but there's a whole bunch of archetypes there. And the chief needed to have experienced all those to integrate that wisdom into leading and to be someone you can trust and someone you can look up to, basically, and follow. And unfortunately, we've lost that. Our leaders now are the ones with the most money and the most corrupt practices. So it would be good to be able to get back to that other type of leader.
Yeah, you're right, because looking at, I don't know if you've followed the British political system, but there's a new PM coming in, so they've got all these people vying for that position. And there's one at the moment, he's had, well, the money to start with, went to all the best schools in the UK, and he's made it very clear, I don't have any friends in the middle class or the lower class. I've never interacted with them, but I have all this knowledge for book. You have no knowledge if you can't get to the basic people. And they're now, and his wife is a billionaire, and they're now beginning to reject him because he has no understanding of their values, what they're looking for, how to implement them. He's focusing on his own society and promoting sort of money grabbing techniques, I think. But it's a shame really that this person has but stated very clearly, I have no friends in the middle class and the lower class, and how do I interact with them? He doesn't know. But those are the people he's serving.
Yeah. It's really interesting because you bring me to talk about one of the books I'm reading, and it's about the history of roses, because I teach the Temple of Roses, and it's so interesting to see that these practices in the Roman time, where the richest in the county or in the country, they use the roses in a so extravagant way, an extreme way, and we talk even about people who died suffocated by petals of roses because they were like and this difference with people from the street and how they worked all about how they worked on the roses and things like that. So I feel like we have arrived to a time where we are living these extremes, and it will lead to collapse to a collapse. We are living a collapse. It's when the things go to the extremes, nothing is holding at the center, and it has to fall. It has to fall to be built again. But it's really interesting. I don't know if you want to add something about this, because can you imagine? I don't know how much time we spent today to talk about books. I think I'm going to talk about my books next time.
Anyway. I think we probably, all I want to say about The Bowl of Light is I would recommend people read it. There's a lot of good information in it. It takes a bit of digging because it's an unusual way of giving this information, as he talks about various meetings and interactions between them. But there's a lot of good information in the book, and I would recommend reading it.
Yes, it's a really good book. All the books that you've brought bring a different perspective about things. So I thank you for that, for sharing that. I think I will share more about my books next month, because I'm still reading about some, and I think we've got a lot to put on our Amazon list. So I will meet you again soon to talk about new topics. I also remind you that the Temple of Roses is still open. If you want to live an experience, and initiation with roses is still there. Maggie and Chris also offer a training about psychic protection and also thriving in the new vibration. You can find their books. I'll put them below so that you can check them out. And hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much.
We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.